personally experienced or witnessed a miracle? Hit me with your best shot.
I have experienced, I actually keep a list. I have a long list. I have my tablet right here. I have a long list of miracles. My life was driven by miracles. Because I was willing to submit myself to Christ at a very young age, the miracles in my life started at a very young age.
Wow.
And they kept going till this very day. Well, which one can I start with?
Just pick a couple.
Okay, it's a couple. Okay, let me go with my favorite one.
All right, nice.
Or this one really gets people, and then I could go to high school. So I was about 14, and I was walking home, and I lived in a small city called East Cleveland. It was a rough place to live. Small 3.5 square miles, and it had a lot of crime, that sort of thing. Only back then it was less crime. Now you don't even walk through there, but then it was less crime. And so it was your standard neighborhood with people sitting on the front porch, listening to music, laughing, talking smack, playing cards, kids playing, that sort of thing. So then I'm walking to my house. I'm 14. I'm walking to my house, and there's this woman sitting on the front porch of the house next door to me. Now I'm 3 houses down, okay? And this woman is sitting on the porch. I'm sure everyone has seen, like in the movies, you see this gorgeous woman and she's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was this woman. Seriously, the woman was a psychopath.
Wow.
And she had 3 pit bulls sitting on the porch. They were very well-trained fighting dogs. And they were sitting on the porch with her on the steps, right out there and open, with kids playing and everything. I knew she was going to sick the dogs on because that's what she did. She was sadistic, psychopath, and she enjoyed causing pain. It was her thing. Wow. So she was around in her mid, well, probably late 20s, I think. And so I said, I have 2 choices. I can go back, walk all the way around the block, go to the street behind my house, cross my neighbor's lawn, which I'm trespassing because I don't know those people. I mean, I didn't know those people, jump the gate and go home. Or I could walk to my front door. So I said a simple prayer. And mind you, at that point, I was calling Jesus God, and I was calling the Most High. I was calling Jesus, and the Most High, God, okay?
Yeah, sure.
That's why when I see people getting real hot and bothered about sacred names and stuff, I didn't start calling him Yeshua and Yahweh until my 50s. And all the miracles I'm talking about happened way before that. Oh, yeah. So that's another subject. But but I said a simple prayer. I said, God protect me. That's it. And I proceeded to walk to my front door. Well, sure enough, she bent down and she looked at me and she whispered in the dog's ears and she said, go get him. You could tell from the way her mouth was moving, said, go get him. She literally sicked the dogs on a 14-year-old. Mind you, I was this geeky dude with thick glasses. I was no threat to anyone. I was a walking stick, okay?
Wow.
And she sicked the dogs. They were very well trained. They jumped off the porch and charged me. Now, they weren't going to come up to me to play. I've seen these dogs fight, and it's barbaric. And they were going to come to kill me, okay? So then I stepped back. I took one step back, and not to run, but to get into a fighting stance, because I knew that I was going to be protected. It never occurred to me that they could hurt me. It never occurred to me. And I've seen these dogs hurt people, okay? It never occurred to me they could hurt me. So then I took a step back and I waited. They charged and jumped, and that's where it stopped.
What?
they were up on their hind legs at a 45-degree angle, trying to get me, doing all that. Okay. And so they're doing like this and they're snapping. And
Wow.
it's, how a dog doesn't quite know how to act on a leash, and they end up walking on their hind legs and the owner's pulling them, and
Yep.
and the only thing that's holding them up on their legs is the leash, right? The owner holding them. Well, that's what they look like. Now, mind you, at this point, everyone in the neighborhood shut up. There was not a sound. All you heard was the dogs, because they thought they were about to witness a statistic in the making. Okay. Another 6 o'clock news. Oh, this young man was walking home and he was mauled by pit bulls, because that was real common back then. Okay. You heard about that a lot. And so they're steady clawing at me, snapping at me, growling, barking, and they can't get me. And at this point, I'm getting bored. I'm like, they can't touch me. So I did what any 14-year-old would do. I bent down, got up in their face, and started taunting them. And so I'm like, rah, 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 rah. And they're like, rah, 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 rah. They wanted to get me so bad. I'm like, they can't touch me. How cool is this? I mean, how could you be afraid when you see something like that? It was just like, this is so cool, So I'm bored at this point. So I tilt my head over. They're still trying to get me. I'm ignoring them now. I said, you guys, you can't touch me. So I look at her. She's literally shaking. Not because of me. Nobody would be afraid of me at that point. I was a little skinny dude. She witnessed the power of the living God, and she was terrified, because when you're on the opposite end of that, of glory, you experience fear and terror. Okay. And she was literally shaking. And then eventually she managed to speak, and she stuttered. I never heard this woman stutter. She had the confidence and the arrogance of a psychopath. So she actually said, come on back here, come on back here. And the dogs drop. I guess the Lord had Yahweh had an angel holding them back or something, because that's usually how it works. And so they dropped on their four legs, and they turned around and they ran back to her. Dogs were well trained. They ran back to the psychopath lady. And so I walked up to the front porch of my house, and I was pretty excited. I was shaking. I was so excited because I had just witnessed and been a part of a pretty severe miracle. And I didn't say anything to her, but I did give her a look, a very confident, like, seriously, that's all you got,
That's your egg.
And I walked up into my house. Now, here's the fun part. Well, that was the fun part, but here's the second fun part. I said, Ma, you won't believe what just happened. And my mother was used to this by now. She was accustomed to me coming home and telling her all these crazy stories of all these adventures that I went through a lot of adventures. And she just looked at me and said, what now, Michael? Because almost everyone was death-defying. I should have been dead or maimed or something, because my faith was built in the crucible of battle. I was very well trained, and men protect the weak. Men protect those who need it. When someone needs help, you jump in. And because because of my trust in Yahweh, I had no fear. And so we ended up, I say we because my brother and I were a fighting duo for our whole time in high school. So we were well known for that, actually. But that's more stories of the miracles, because all those fights were miracles, because we were attacked by the biggest thugs in the city. I mean, these guys had rap sheets that long. The police knew them well, and they thought we were easy targets. They were mistaken.